It's 6:30. I'm going to call this meeting to order. 6:30 on Tuesday, May the 24th. This is the regular meeting of the Municipal Council of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal for the month of May. This is the meeting at which we will verify or solidify, if I can put it that way, a lot of the decisions that were made at committee meetings during the month. And so having called the meeting to order, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda as presented. And Deputy Mayor Deschamps, I think you have that motion.
I do. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that Municipal Council approves the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much. And those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And maybe just for the record, I'll mention that I think this is the first meeting since COVID started that we don't have somebody joining us on Zoom. I think that that is still available, is it not, to the clerk? That's still available, but nobody has requested a Zoom invitation tonight. So everybody is in their places, including the staff. So item number 3 on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Are there any disclosures here this evening? All right, the chair notes no disclosures and the minutes will reflect that. And I'm at item number 4 on the agenda, and we do have delegations and presentations. We do have 2 presentations here this evening. Now, Mr. Lockwood hasn't arrived yet, and he is first on the first presentation. So the fact that he hasn't arrived, I'm just going to flip them around. And the second presentation tonight will be from Miles Norris Penny, the MNP, the Township Auditors, and we have Mr. Ian Murphy with us, who will just. Hey, pardon? I don't see him yet. Oh, no, not here yet. So I'll get Mr. Murphy then to just talk about the presentation of the auditor's opinion on the township's financial state.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Good evening. So I'll do a brief highlight, and if there's any questions, I'm more than willing to answer them and interrupt as I go through. But I'll start with it's the third page in. It's the management's responsibility for the financial statements. So it's a statement outlining that management's responsible for the preparation and presentation of these financial statements. We as auditors are appointed by council and are responsible for providing an opinion on these financial statements. Okay, so maybe what I'll do just before we go on is for members of council, this is starting on page 152 of 377 of tonight's package. So go ahead then, Mr. Murphy. So the following page is our independent auditor's report. So this is a 2-page audit report, and it outlines our opinion for the first 2 paragraphs, which is a clean audit opinion. It states, in our opinion, the company's consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the township as at December 31st, 2021, the results of its consolidated operations, changes in net financial assets and cash flows from year that ended in accordance with Canadian public sector accounting standards. On page 1 of the financial statements, this is the consolidated statement of financial position. So this outlines on December 31st, the total assets and liabilities of the township. You'll notice total assets for the year of $56.5 million. Total liabilities of $7,450,000, giving you your net financial assets of just over $49 million. You also have non-financial assets, which are made up of the tangible capital assets and inventory, which totals just over $35 million, giving you a total accumulated surplus of $84,835,000 So this is the PSAB accumulated surplus. And so if you jump to page 7 of the financial statements.
And just so people are having trouble following you, that'll be page 193 of 377. Go ahead.
So this breaks down the total accumulated surplus of the 84 million into the various sections. So at the top, you'll have the general surpluses or deficits. As outlined, you'll have the first line, the operating surplus, which is 0 for the year. As that gets closed out to the reserves as part of your tax rate bylaw. You have your inventory surplus, building surplus, and some capital surpluses as well as your investments in the Port of Johnstown and Rio St. Lawrence utilities. The middle section is the reserves and reserve funds. So funds set aside by council for specific purposes, either by council or through legislation or requirements. The total for that is just under $10 million this year. And the bottom section is your investment in tangible capital assets, which includes all your infrastructure, buildings, and equipment. And that totals $30 million for the year. So bringing your total to $84,835,000. So we jump back to page 2 of the financial statements now, which is the consolidated statement of financial activities. So this outlines the revenue and expenses for the year. So the middle column, you'll notice total revenue of $10,943,000, expenses of $10,371,000, and some other revenue of $4.1 million, giving a total public sector surplus of $4,674,000 for the year. I'll get you to jump again, this time to page 20 of the financial statements.
And that is going to be 206.
And so this breaks down from the PSAB surplus of 4.6 down to your operating surplus, which you budget for each year. So if you'll notice, in the middle of the page, you have your operating surplus for the year, $730,939, which is included in 3 different surpluses. You have your library surplus of $3,000, your water and sewer surplus of $300,000, and your general operating surplus of $428,000. So, other than that, I won't go into detail on the financial numbers, but I'll turn it back over to the mayor and see if there's any questions.
Okay, so thank you very much, Mr. Murphy, and just want to acknowledge the fact that Councillor Cameron and I spent the better part of 2 hours with Mr. Murphy this afternoon between 4 and 6 o'clock reviewing the financial statements and the auditor's opinion for the Port of Johnstown and the financial statement and the auditor's opinion and the audit report letter for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal. And as Mr. Murphy has already pointed out, the financial statements are the responsibility of management. The auditor is engaged to express an opinion on those financial statements, and Mr. Murphy has just indicated that the auditors are expressing a non-qualified opinion that the financial statements represent fairly the position of the township at the end of the year. So that's of course what council is always interested to know. And so then I'll open the floor for other questions of other members of council. And we'll just take a few minutes to engage with Mr. Murphy if you'd like to do so. So just open the floor now. See anybody with hands up?
Mr. Mayor?
Go ahead, please.
Yes, I just, if you could enlighten me on it. On the Port of Johnstown, we have investment in Port of Johnstown, 44 million. And under our audit, with the total assets was 74 million. Under the port, like I'm going from the ports. What's the difference, like the 74 total assets to our investments in Port of Johnstown 44? Could you kind of give me
so that would be the 44 is the net equity, so it's the total gross assets minus any liabilities outstanding.
okay,
On the port.
and yet at the port, the total assets of it was saying $74,664,000.
Yeah, and then you've got deferred revenue and liabilities.
Okay,
of 30
of 876, and so, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
so page 16 of the financial statements, it gives that summary of the port numbers.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing that. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions here? If there are no other questions, I'll just draw the attention of the council to page 151 of 377. And on page 151 is the motion that will come forward later in the meeting to approve to receive and approve this is just receive the auditor's, the external auditor's opinion. And we will do that, and where are we here? On item 8J of the agenda when we get there.
Mr. Mayor, I just came across one of my notes that I did have one question.
Go ahead.
And I'm not sure if it's of the auditors or just a question in general, but looking at on, I think it's page 15 on there, Port of Johnstown, which was page 148 of 377, I think.
Now, just a minute. Now it's page 15 of
115 on their report, but our numbering is, I think, page 148 of 377.
I have to get to it. And this is Port of Johnstown,
Yeah,
okay?
so under number 13, which is commitments, it says the organization is committed to pay the Arbitrarian total of $180,000 over 3 years, commencing in 2021. Contribution of $60,000, 2020 nil was made during the year, disclosed as part of the advertising and promotion, the organizing, blah, blah, blah. We haven't, it says where it's covered in the budget, but we haven't actually done a contribution yet, have we?
Yes, yeah, we did it in January, I think, but we did it in
2022. 2021.
Commencing in 2021. 2021 was the first year, was it not? Yeah, so we did the presentation of 60,000 in 2021. I thought we were taking it out of a 20. Wait, just a minute now. We're in 2022 right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we did the presentation in the spring of this year.
Yeah, but it was 2021 money that we gave, right?
That's my understanding, yeah.
Yeah, I think the check was a 2021 check. Pretty sure. I don't know whether that answers your question or not, but that's the way it was planned anyway.
I didn't think we released any funds until all of the purchase orders and everything was.
I don't even think we have received. I don't think we released any money yet, have we?
I was there. I
Oh, you
presented
were.
the check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was backdated then to 2021. It wasn't actually part of 2022.
That's right. It was 2021 money that wasn't released until 2022.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
I just had it in the notes and I knew we didn't do the presentation until 2022. So, all right, fair enough.
Any other questions here for Mr. Murphy before I thank him and And he gets on his way home. Well, okay, so I don't see any other questions coming forward. So again, I just want to thank you for the time that you spent with us this afternoon. A fair amount of discussion there. And I guess one of the things that concerns me is a number of the factors that you brought to our attention, the way the audit is going to be becoming quite a bit more detailed and sophisticated next year as it gets to kind of an audit of how we use our IT services. So appreciate you pointing that out and spending the time with us this afternoon. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Now I notice just before I go on that the clerk has stepped away. Let's see what's going on here.
Forrest joined you on Zoom.
Oh, he's going to join us on Zoom?
That's what it says there now.
Ah, okay. So, Mr. Lockwood, can you hear me?
He's muted.
I think you might be muted.
Just requested him to unmute.
Can he hear me? Mr. Lockwood, can you hear me? I think you might be muted. Or frozen, yeah. That's always a possibility.
Just kidding.
I have the backup to the backup, right? So
It's number 2, so. Dial up. Yeah. Teleconference. Actually works.
Can you, Mr. Lockwood, can you hear me? Mr. Lockwood, can you hear me?
just send him a message through the chat to say if he can't do it, then I can put him on speaker on my cell phone.
Does he not, his camera's off as well.
Nothing seems to be on his end. Oop. Corey? Yes. So all right, so I've already requested to unmute. How about we do a workaround? I'll just put you on speakerphone on my cell phone. Okay. Yep, I'm just gonna put you on speaker and throw my cell phone towards the center of the room. Just bear with me for 2 seconds.
So
Having some technical difficulties on his laptop, so I'm just gonna set this here. And we're gonna have to kind of wing it. He's on speaker. Corey, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh,
Most of this don't go.
yeah. Okay.
Maybe if you
Good. Okay, we're just gonna have to yell. I just have you on my speakerphone, Corey, and we're gonna have to wing it from here.
Okay, can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
yes, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Yes, I owe all of you an apology. I did not save it for the right day in my calendar. That's why I'm not there. So I do owe you all an apology. I'm very sorry for that, wasting your time. So the reason I was wanting to speak this evening was because the municipality of North Grenville are trying to put a no truck bylaw on their municipal roads and guiding all truck traffic to county roads, which really impacts trucking distances and times, and where it really affects you guys down here in Edwardsburg is currently Willis Kerr's quarry on the corner of Buckwheat and the service road. The trucks come out of there and they would go south, they would go up North Smith Road towards Oxford Station, or they would cut across Jokum Road. If the town gets this bylaw through, and we're fighting it on our end, is it won't allow them to go up Smith Road anymore, so it'll put all the traffic onto Jokum Road, any of the northbound traffic, which I don't feel is fair for the residents of Edwardsburg or the other residents of North Grenville, because there's a few people on Smith Road that are complaining about truck traffic after they've purchased a house or built a home on a road that with a licensed quarry since 1982, I believe it is. So I just thought it should be brought to your guys' attention that, and maybe go to there's a public meeting on the 26th this week. And a lot of the people in the trucking industry are going to be speaking at it to try and get them to cancel this bylaw so that it doesn't affect the cost of putting in septics, building homes, getting gravel under your driveway, heating oil delivered, and whatnot throughout the township of or the municipality of North Grenville. And then also directing all the traffic down Jokum Road, any of that northbound traffic out of that quarry.
So can you hear me, Mr. Lockwood?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so our understanding is that the bylaw that you're talking about was passed on May the 3rd. Is that not correct?
No, it was not passed. They never consulted with anybody in the industry. They just had a consultant out of Hamilton put this thing together, and we caught wind of it at the last second. I asked them to defer the voting on it until we were able to put some input into it. So it has not passed.
Okay, but the essence of the problem is that the truck traffic that's leaving the quarry on Smith Road, instead of going straight north on Smith Road to North Grenville, would have to come out of the quarry, come south on Smith Road, our township road, cross the 401 on Jokum Road, and then go on to County Road 44 North. Is that the essence of the problem?
That's correct. So when they would come out of the Buckwheat and go north, they would go north to Jokum. So currently, if they go north on Smith Road all the way up to Oxford Station Road, they're going to go past 4 Edwardsburg residents and 68 North Grenville residents. If they come north and cross Jokum up 44 and then back down Oxford Station Road, they're going to go past 46 Edwardsburg residents and 70 North Grenville residents. So just that part of the bylaw doesn't make any sense. And according to Willis Kerr, or Dean Kerr of Willis Kerr Construction, about 50% of the product that comes out of that quarry now is going south. So the other 50%, the trucks would be, half would go down Jokum and half would go up Smith Road. So everybody's kind of getting their fair share. And we're trying to get it across that if you just appease to these clients or homeowners that are complaining here, you're just moving the complaint from one spot to the other versus everybody getting their fair share of truck traffic.
But it then again, it puts additional pressure on our township roads.
Yes, it would, 100%, yes. Yeah.
Especially Jokum.
Especially Jokum.
Yeah, our county is 44, which it's owned by the county.
Right.
I didn't know.
So now this meeting that you're referring to on May the 26th, did you say?
Yes, that's correct.
And is that a meeting of the North Grenville Council?
Yes, it's a public meeting specific. It's not a council meeting. It's a public meeting specifically for this.
And can you go back and tell me why the bylaw didn't pass on May the 3rd? Because all the documentation that we have from North Grenville indicates that it was supposed to have been passed on May the 3rd.
Yeah, no, it was not. It's been deferred till the end of June, and it's because of people in the trucking, our own truck owners and the Willis Kerr Construction catching wind of it in the last minute, and we got together and went to council and saying that it doesn't make sense. And what their reason behind it is because they've the residents talking about how dangerous it is for the lives of their children, and the consultant that they hired kind of spoke to that, and then because in his own document he states that 67% of vehicle accidents in the township are on county roads, and the balance being on municipal roads. And when we asked him how much of that was truck traffic or commercial licensed vehicles, he didn't have the answer, and we did because we researched it with the police, and there was only one commercial vehicle accident in all of North Grenville last year. And that's mainly because these are professional drivers, trucks that are getting inspected every day. And it's just more of a fear than a reality that these are big dangerous machines going down the road.
All right, so if you can still hear, I'm going to open the floor up here for questions from other members of council. I'll start looking for hands here. So Councillor Cameron, you're recognized.
Yes, thank you. Yes, through the chair to Mr. Lockwood. Mr. Lockwood, the meeting on the 26th, could you give us the time and the location of that meeting?
It's at 6 o'clock at the North Grenville Municipal Center.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have right now, Mr. Mayor.
Other questions of Mr. Lockwood, Councillor Dillabaugh?
Through the chair to Mr. Lockwood. Thank you for your input. I did do a little research myself, and what I'm finding is from that pit to County Road 20, it's 5 kilometers on Smith Road. And if you have to go up Yoakum Road, it becomes 11 kilometers.
Yes, that's correct.
And I'm not sure where we got the 68 North or the houses. I counted 25 on Yoakum Road. Now I didn't count that was in our township. I didn't count what was on County Road 44. But we have 25 homes just from County Road 44, Yoakum Road to Smith Road. So
yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I don't understand why it's a safety issue on Smith Road and it's not a safety issue on Yoakum Road.
I agree with you 100%. I counted the homes from the quarry, so up the service road, across Jokum, and the homes on 44 in Edwardsbury. So that's where I come up with that number.
Oh, okay. I just counted Yoakum Road. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And our road would get hammered, Yoakum, and it's not very good at on the corner of 44 and Yoakum now. So
I 100% agree with you. There's no rhyme or reason, and I won't get into the details, but when we met with the consultant that did this, we brought all these concerns up, and he had no answers for anything. I think this was a cut and paste thing. He never actually drove any of these roads, which we confirmed, and it's just politics. We have a few residents on Smith Road that it was okay for the trucks to go down there and build their house and take the shortest distance, but now they don't want them doing it for anybody else going by, and it's just not it's not right at all, and I don't feel it's fair for the residents of Joe.
Okay, so I see Councillor Hunter has a hand up.
Through the mayor to Mr. Lockwood, I agree 100% with you having been involved with the trucking industry for a long time. Not just our road, as you say, on the open road getting hammered, but I don't really see the point of this bylaw for the whole township of North Grenville. They're not just restricted on Smith Road, they're restricted on all the municipal roads with no exceptions for development taking place here. I would think there'd be a huge outcry from the rest of the North Grenville residents over this. So.
Well, I think it was kind of getting pushed over. No one really, and I don't think anyone was trying to do anything tonight, but no one really thought of the other implications of the cost. Like I said, getting a propane delivered is not just going the shortest route from house to house. Now it's going, you have to go back to truck roads. There's the cost of, we did the math on it. We have a low development rate in Oxford Station we'll be doing, and it's going to add $7,000 to $10,000 a house, just in extra trucking by the time you build the road, build the homes, and get the aggregate there that we need. And not to mention replacing septic systems. And it's just not fair that people that didn't do their due diligence when they bought their home to see what was on that road before they bought it, and now they're upset about it. That's the same as if, to me, it would be no different than somebody complaining that they smell of manure after they bought a house next to a farm. It's very similar.
Okay, I don't see any other hands just now, but I did want to get a couple of questions out here. That number that you're using, $10,000 per door as construction costs on a new home builds, is that that'd be new home builds in North Grenville? Is that a justifiable, defendable number?
Yeah, I guess. So I'm going to sit down and do the exact math on the kilometers per road we're going to do in that subdivision, Pat. But I believe I'm being very conservative with that number. And as you're aware, I know, and I'm sure the rest of the councilors is here in North Grenville, they're pushing affordable housing more than any municipality in Eastern Ontario right now. And this isn't going to help it, that's for sure. Because not only we're going, we mentioned about doubling the distance to get up around to County Road 20. So when you double the distance, you also need to double the amount of trucks you put on the road to get the same amount of productivity in a day. Right? If we need this many loads a day and it's taking the trucks twice as long, we need twice as many trucks. So it's going to actually put more trucks on the road than less. And then there's the environmental impact and all that stuff to consider.
Okay, and one last thing then before I let you go, and I'm going to ask this question through the CAO, and he can refer it to other members of our staff. And so, Mr. Grant, did we have any kind of advance notice from North Grenville of this initiative, which would have the effect of transferring this traffic, this truck traffic from that quarry from a North Grenville road onto a Edwardsburg Cardinal Road? Did we have any kind of an indication or warning that this was in the works? Just if you would, Mr. Grant.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. The first that any of our staff became aware of it was when Mr. Lockwood had contacted the clerk mid last week.
And any of your staff, did the director of operations hear from them? Have we heard anything from Ms. Karen Dunlop, their director of, or their manager of public works?
To the best of my knowledge, I haven't checked with the director of operations today, but as of last week, we had not.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Lockwood, did you have any last parting words here before I thank you for your delegation?
No, just again, I'm really sorry, folks, for wasting your time this evening. I was the one who requested it, and I screwed up putting it in my calendar, so I do apologize for that.
And one final question, the meeting on the 26th, which is only 2 days from today, are you anticipating that there will be a large number of truckers present at that meeting?
Yes, we've got a bunch of people from the trucking industry in our area, as well as the fuel delivery industry. And then I expect there's going to be quite a few homeowners at it as well.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, I'm going to thank you for your presentation. I'm in the awkward position, and just so that you know, that we don't generally respond to delegations at the same meeting where the presentation has been made. And on this council agenda, we don't have a discussion item where there's an opportunity for discussion as to how we might react to this. I'm going to leave that up to council to see whether or not they want to determine whether it would be a good idea to send a delegation from our council to attend that May 26th meeting. But as I'm faced with the agenda here in front of me, I don't have a discussion, an opportunity for discussion. So I'll leave that up to the council. They can provide direction to the chair on that specific. And in the meantime, I'll thank you very much for your presentation and making us aware and our staff aware of this issue. I guess just speaking as a mayor, I want to make it very clear that I've not heard a single sound about this from my neighboring mayor of North Grenville. So as far as elected official to elected official goes, that did not happen. And I'll leave it at that for now. But I will say that I find this a rather if nothing else, I would say unneighborly. So again, thank you for your delegation and making us aware of the matter.
You're welcome, and thank you all very much for listening.
Okay, thank you. All right, so council, chair is going to be looking for direction either now or later in the meeting as to how to deal with this. I think you can see that the important date is May the 26th at 6 o'clock. And how we as a township want to react to this information is really in the hands it's in the hands of the council, really. And the chair will be looking for direction as we go on with the meeting. So I'm going to proceed right now to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the approval of previous council meetings held during the month. And the first one that I'll refer to is the special council meeting of April the 21st. And Councillor Hunter, I think you have that motion.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor DeShawn, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of special council meeting dated April 21st, 2022.
Thank you very much.
Sorry for I was trying to pause.
Sorry for making you stretch there. All right. First of all, are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of this meeting of April the 21st? Hearing none, are there any questions? Well, I'll deal with business arising later on. So if there are no errors or omissions, I'm going to call the question on the motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And now I'll proceed then to items 5B, which is the regular council meeting of April the 25th. Councillor Bill, I think it's Deputy Mayor Deschamps, do you have that motion?
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Cameron. The municipal council receives and approves the minutes of regular council meeting dated April 25th, 2022.
Thank you very much. Motion is on the floor. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of this meeting? I'll deal with business arising later. So hearing no hands or hearing no comments, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. I'll proceed then to item number 5C, the special council meeting of May the 2nd. And Councillor Dillabaugh, I believe you have that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and second by Councillor Cameron, that the municipality council receives and approves the minutes of the special council meeting dated May 2nd, 2022.
Thank you very much. Motion is on the floor. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of this meeting? Hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. All right, now I'll go then to item number 6, which is business arising from those meetings. Does anyone have any business arising? If not, I'm about to move on, and I'll go then to item number 7, which is the approval of a number of committee meetings that were held during the month. And the first is the Port Management Committee of, actually 3. March the 23rd, February 23rd, March the 16th, April the 20th. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hunter, that municipal council receives the minutes of the Port Management Committee meetings dated February 23rd, 2022, March 16th, 2022, and April 20th, 2022.
Okay, thank you very much. So the minutes of those committee meetings are now on the floor. Are there any errors or omissions to bring forward? Anybody have any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'm about to call the question to approve the minutes of those 3 meetings. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We're now turning to item number 7B, which is the Public Library Board meeting of March the 22nd. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, once again, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Hunter. The municipal council receives the minutes of the Public Library Board meeting dated March 22nd, 2022.
Thank you very much. And are there any errors or omissions? And I hear none. Now, Councillor Cameron, you're our representative on that board. Do you have any comments?
Mr. Mayor, I do not at the moment, other than the fact that the libraries, both libraries in the township are functioning quite well. Because of the election situation, the library board or the library has put into effect the election stipulations and duties that are involved, and everything is going nicely. Membership is actually up as well at both libraries.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'm about to call a question on the motion before the floor. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And turning now to item number 7C, which is the public meeting concerning the zoning bylaw amendment for Dobie. Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron that the municipality council received and approves the minutes of the public meeting zoning bylaw amendment Dobie on April 20th, 2022.
Okay, this is a public meeting held under the Planning Act for the purposes of a zoning bylaw amendment. Are there any questions with regard to the minutes? No questions, no errors or omissions. I'm about to call the question on the motion before the floor. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And turning now then to item 7E, the Committee of the Whole meeting, Community Development of May the 2nd, Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Community Development meeting dated May the 2nd, 2022.
Thank you very much. Questions, if any? Comments, if any? As the chair, did you want to speak to anything here, Mr. Deputy Mayor?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Any notes?
All right, I'm going to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
7B.
Well, you know, I thought I had missed something. What did I miss?
Oh, D.
7D.
I missed 7D. And so I'm at 7E. Well, all right, so 7D is the public meeting of April the 21st. And Councillor Hunter, you have that one. Not much more to
Myself,
missing.
Deputy Mayor Deschamps, the municipal council received and approved the minutes of the public meeting of official plan amendments and zoning bylaw review April 21st, 2022.
There we go. I'm just going to point out one thing, that the minutes of that meeting do not indicate who was chair. I was the chair, but it doesn't indicate that beside my name. So I'll just point that out. Maybe it can, a small error can be corrected, but I'm going to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Right now, and I've done May the 2nd. So I won't do it over again. I'll go to 7F, then the Committee of the Whole Administration and Finance. That was the meeting of May the 9th. And that meeting, Councillor Dillabaugh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Cameron that the municipality council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Administration Finance meeting dated May 9th, 2022.
Thank you very much. Motion on the floor. Questions, if any? Discussions, if any? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And moving then to 7 G, Committee of the Whole, Community Development of May the 16th.
Here we go again. Oh, I don't have a second. So that's all right. Somehow we missed that. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Fisher. The municipal council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole Community Development meeting dated May 16th, 2022.
Thank you very much. And discussion, if any? Questions, if any? Hearing nothing, about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And moving then to 7H, which is the Committee of the Whole Meeting for Public Works, Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. It moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hunter, that Municipal Council receives and approves the minutes of the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities dated May 16th, 2022.
Thank you very much. And my apologies to the members for shortening the title there. No slight, I just should have given the full name of the committee, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities, which Councillor Cameron has already done. Questions, if any? Discussion, if any? Hearing none. To vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. All right, now I'm at item number 8, which is action and information items that are coming forward from those committees. And we do have some folks in the gallery here tonight. So just explain that we go through this section rather crisply because every one of these items has come forward from one of the committees where there's been a good deal of discussion, which leads to the recommendation that is coming forward from the committee. So the first one is item number 8A, which is the allocation of the 2021 township surplus. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that municipal council approve the proposed 2021 surplus allocation of $426,725.18 and direct the treasurer to transfer $345,000 to the Environmental Services Storm Sewer Reserve 01-3525, $74,725 to the Building Department Reserve 01-3519, and $7,470.24 to the Public Works Capital Reserve 01-3520, as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration of Finance.
Thank you very much. Motion is on the floor. Good discussion at committee level. Discussion here, if any. Hearing none. Vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And item number 8B, the Public Sector Accounting Board addendum, where we will reconcile the township's budgeting process, which deals with revenue and expenditures, the PSAB standards, the standards of the Public Sector Accounting Board. And Councillor Hunter, I believe you have that motion.
Yeah, moved myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council adopt the 2022 PSAB budget addendum report, which meets the requirements of the Ontario Regulation 284/09 and is recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration of Finance.
Thank you very much. And discussion, if any? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And item number 8C, record digitization project. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you again. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hugh Cameron, that municipal council, 1, sole source the records digitization project with Image Advantage Solutions Incorporated, and 2, authorized reallocating the $19,329.98 from the township app project towards the record digitization project and cover the project cost of $30,371.35 plus non-rebated HST from the MMAH Modernization Reserve Fund. as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Administration and Finance.
Good, thank you very much. Again, well discussed at the committee level. Any questions, if any? Discussion, if any? Vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And item number 8D, the 2022 Spencerville Lagoon Discharge Report. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that the municipal council receive and review the 2022 Spencerville Lagoon Discharge Report and direct staff to submit the report to MECP prior to the June 30th due date as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities.
Thank you very much. Discussion, if any? Hearing none, vote to call it. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, and now item number 8E, County Road 2 unopened road allowance closure request from Malin. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter. The municipal council agreed to stop up and close the unopened road allowances identified as pin 68155-0232, pin 68155-0234, pin 68155-0236, and pin 68155-0233 on Plan 15R 12105, and that the land be conveyed to the owner of 2814 County Road 2 in accordance with the Municipal Act, Section 35, and that the intended conveyance be publicized through the township's website and local newspaper as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities.
Thank you very much. Discussion, if any? Hearing none, vote to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. So I'm going to touch my paperwork here and go to item number 8F. Spencerville and Johnstown Drainage Tender Award. Councillor Hunter.
Move
Oh,
myself.
just before we go there, did the change get made on Councillor Hunter's motion?
Yes, I believe the non-rebate HST was correct.
Councillor Hunter, please.
Move myself, second by Councillor Delbach, that municipal council, 1, award the full scope of work tendered in Johnstown and Spencerville to Coco Paving Incorporated, with both fully scoped projects reaching a total bid cost of $3,214,881.80, less $120,000 for the substitution of hydrogen seed instead of sod, plus 10% contingency, and 2, award the contract administrator for Greer Galway to an upset limit of $132,087.55, as recommended by the Committee of the Whole, Public Works, Environmental Services and Facilities.
Motion is on the floor. Is there discussion, if any? Hearing none, I vote to call the question. Again, well discussed at several committee meetings. Those in favor?
Aye.
All hands up. Okay, and so that's in 8F. Now, item number 8G, the financing options for the storm water capital. Councillor Dilba.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron. This council authorized the treasurer to make an application for the construction loan for infrastructure and material to finance the 2022 stormwater management project.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to just see if there's any discussion. I have one question to the CAO before we proceed here. No questions. I'll ask my question then. So to the CAO, the intent here is to have the treasurer apply for a construction loan to Infrastructure Ontario for a construction loan. So my question is if Ontario, Infrastructure Ontario grants the construction loan, is it a necessity that Infrastructure Ontario then finance the project at the end of the work? Is it an obligation on the part of the township?
Mr. Mayor, I can have the treasurer respond to that.
Okay, through the chair, I've reached out to a representative from Infrastructure Ontario, and they have confirmed that after the construction loan is finalized, you can either convert to a fixed rate term loan or pay back the amount that was borrowed.
Or pay back the amount that we borrowed, in other words, if we finance it through some other source. Okay, fair enough. So the motion's on the floor, no obligation, no continuing obligation if the construction loan is granted. So any further discussion on this? Councillor Hunter.
I just have one, like, I understand where treasurer's coming from. This allows the township to know the exact amount that we have to borrow once it's finished. The only thing I'd like to point out with the way interest rates are changing here very rapidly, what we gain by not borrowing ahead of time, we can end up losing by the increased amount that we'll have to pay in interest rates when we convert to a fixed loan.
Unless we borrow from ourselves.
Well, even if we borrow from ourselves, we're still.
Yeah, but we don't have to adjust.
No, we don't have to adjust as long as we can. As long as council at that time are willing to borrow from themselves.
Right. And again, there's a whole number of issues that come out of this, and one of the big things is there's a fair amount of dollars in here for 10% of the amount is for contingencies, which may or may not be required borrowing. So I mean, there's still a number of loose issues, if I can put it that way. But the intent here is to apply for the construction loan and to determine, and maybe I'll ask another question in response to Councillor Hunter's comments. Will, through the CAO to the treasurer, will Infrastructure Ontario, at the time that they grant a construction loan, indicate to us a commitment to an interest rate to convert the construction loan to a permanent loan? Will they give us that commitment at that time?
I would probably say no through the chair, because the construction loan has you can borrow up to 5 years. So I don't imagine they would provide a set rate with a 5-year horizon. But the other factor that I like council to consider, and I never really put it into my action item, was this project will be a 22, probably a 23 budget project, just because of the expense of both of these projects. There is certainly money or available money in 23's budget that we haven't really allocated to these two particular projects. So that's the other aspect that I'm kind of taking into consideration. We don't really know what it is that we need to borrow. So at this point, at least the construction loan provides the municipality the ability to help the cash flow that we're going to need. We're going to need to make sure we have cash flow to move this project along. This way, as we incur costs, we can submit through the application, submit at the beginning of the month and get paid on the 15th of the month. And our coffers are replenished. And then with only interest paying on that, like an interest payment as opposed to a full payment, would come to stating on that payment repayment schedule. So that's why the recommendation is coming forward.
Obviously I'm going to support the recommendation because I think it gives us still flexibility. And my worry about being locked into converting the entire amount into an Infrastructure Ontario instrument is that I know that they will debenture and then we will be locked in. And I think there are other ways that we can protect ourselves. So Are there any further questions with regard to the motion before the floor? Go ahead.
Actually, my question has actually been answered. I just want to be very, very clear that with the construction loan, we're at this point in time, we will not be locked in to IL. That's, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, I'm about to call the question on the motion before the chair. Those in favor? 1, 2, 3. I show the motion carried and I show it carried unanimously. Item number, where am I here? Item number 8H, which is the Port of Johnstown financial statements. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you. It's moved by myself that the municipal council receives the 2021 audit findings report and approves the 2021 financial statement for the Port of Johnstown as recommended by the Port Management Committee.
Thank you very much. And again, those statements have been presented at the Port Management Committee. We had an opportunity to discuss with the auditor this afternoon, Mr. Daly, and the office manager from the port were here this afternoon. Good discussion all around. So are there any questions with regard to the motion on the table? Hearing none, about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried and I show it unanimously. And so now I will turn to item number 8I, which is the audit report for the township. And Councillor Cameron, I believe you have that one as well.
I do, Mr. Mayor, thank you. It's moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps. Whereas the Mayor and Councillor Cameron met on May 24th, 2022 with MNP LLP, external auditors for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal and the Port of Johnstown. And whereas Ian Murphy from MNP LLP reviewed the responsibility letter.
Representation.
No, I have responsibility letter.
Ah, okay. I've got both on mine.
Okay. The auditor independent letter, the audit finding report, the responsibility letter, the draft audit opinion, and the 2021 draft consolidated financial statements for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal for the year ending December 31st, 2021. Now and therefore be it resolved that municipal council receives the 2021 audit report on the consolidated financial statements of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal as provided by MNP LLP.
Okay, so some differences of wording here, but we'll use the one that you just read out. Discussion, if any. And hearing none, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Mark the motion carried, and I just want to reiterate again how pleased I am to see that we have a unqualified audit opinion on the township's financial statements prepared and presented by our management team. And now I'm going to item number J, which is the Township Financial Statements Consolidated. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This one may be slightly different than your original one as well. We got an updated version. So moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, whereas the audit findings report, the management letter, the draft township financial statements, the responsibility letter, the auditor independent letter, and the draft audit opinion were reviewed by the Mayor, Councillor Cameron, on May 24th, 2022, in advance of the regular council meeting. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the municipal council receives the audit findings report and responsibility letter and approves the 2021 draft consolidated financial statements for the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal, subject to the finalization of Rideau St. Lawrence financial statement.
Okay, thank you very much. And for those of you that reviewed the report, you may notice that I'm just going to find a page reference here. And just so I want to speak to it, but on page 201 of 377, which is actually page 15 of our financial statements, where the auditor in the audit note number 13 is talking about our investment in Rideau St. Lawrence Holdings, Inc. You'll notice that the numbers under 2021 are all left blank. And the auditor indicated to us tonight that the reason they've been left blank is because the Rideau St. Lawrence Holdings financial statements have not yet been approved by their board and forwarded to our auditors so that the numbers could be included in this report. So we will have to hold up getting the final statements from the auditor until he's able to fill in that amount. Now, nothing turns on this because we are a shareholder of Rideau St. Lawrence. It won't affect anything in our financial statements except that this page 15 has to be complete. So are there any other questions coming forward with regard to receiving these financial statements? If not, I'm about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
I show the motion carried, and again unanimously. All right, and now I'm moving to item number 9 on the agenda, which is the correspondence package. And Councillor Cameron, I believe you have that motion.
I do, Mr. Mayor. Thank you again. It's moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps. The Municipal Council receives the correspondence listing for the following dates as previously circulated: May 5th, May 11th, and May 18th, 2022.
Thank you very much. Motion is on the floor. Discussion, if any. Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And I'm moving to item number 10 on the agenda, which is approval of the municipal disbursement sheets for the month of May. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that the Municipal Council approves payment of municipal invoices circulated and dated as follows. Report dated April 28, 2022-62. $141,310.26. Report dated April 28th, 2022-63, $109,436.86. Report dated April 29th, 2022-65, $2,000. Report dated May 13th, 2022-66, $51,013.92. Report dated May 16th, 2022-67, $160,197.97. Report dated May 18th, 2022-68, $165,859.49 for a total of $629,818.50.
Very good. Thank you very much. Questions, if any, with the disbursement sheets? Disbursement sheets are circulated on the Friday afternoon. Councillor Cameron.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to draw your attention to page 220 under Michelin North America ETF, and I'm just curious about the two dates that are in brackets behind the just before the disbursements, 2022 and 2020. Could I just get an explanation for those dates, please?
Certainly through the mayor, in particular, truck 6. It looks like tires were replaced in 2020, and we were not invoiced.
Okay, fine, that's fine for that one. I just have one more, Mr. Mayor, and it's regarding, I have 222 invoice or page number, but I don't think that's the one. But I just would like to remind staff that this particular purchase was for water at O'Reilly's in Prescott. And I just, with the hard times through with the pandemic that our local distributors and stores have gone through, it'd be nice to see local purchasing wherever possible. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
It says fire department.
Yes, it
might have
is.
been an evening fire.
Well, yes, that's quite possible.
Okay, motion is still on the table here. Further questions, if any? No further questions, about to call the question. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, so just for the offered. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, well, just hang on one second.
My apologies.
Yeah, we have to wait till we get to the question period. It'll come later on in the meeting. We don't interrupt the agenda here right now. It's just coming up in the next few minutes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, apologies.
Within the next few minutes. All right, so I'm going to item number 11 on the agenda, which is the various bylaws. And the first is the bylaw to adopt the engineer's report for the municipal drain. Councillor Dillabaugh, I think you have that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the bylaw to provide the drainage works in the township of Edwardsburg Cardinal in the county of Breville, Newport municipality drain. We now read a third time, finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2022-29.
Third reading on this bylaw. Questions, if any? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And bylaw number 11B, the official plan amendment for additional residential units. Councilor Dillabaugh again, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the mover be granted leave to introduce the bylaw being adopted by bylaw for amendment number 1 to the official plan for the township of Edwardsburg Cardinal and shall constitute the first and second reading thereof.
First and second reading of the bylaw for official plan amendment number 1. Those in favor?
Aye.
And receives unanimous approval. It can go to third reading, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the bylaw being adoption bylaw for amendment number 1 of the official plan for the township of Edwardsburg Cardinal be now read a third time, finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2022-30.
Third reading on the official plan amendment. Questions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And I'm going to item number 2022, item number 11C, the 2022 tax rate. Councilor Dillabaugh again.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the mover be granted leave to introduce the bylaw to provide adoption of tax rates to provide for penalty and interest in default of payments thereof for 2022 and shall constitute the first and second reading thereof.
Did you not want to read the rates, Mr. Councilor?
No.
Thank you very much. First and second reading for the tax rates. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried unanimously. We can proceed to third reading, please.
Thank you again. Moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Cameron that the bylaw to provide for adoption of tax rates and provide for penalty and interest in default of payment thereof for 2022 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, number 2022-31.
Thank you very much. Third reading on the tax rate bylaw. Those in favor? Motion is carried. And going to item number 11D, which is municipal highway closures. Councilor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Councilor Dillabaugh. Mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to adopt policies and procedures governing the closure and sale of municipal highways within the township of Edwardsburg, Cardinal. This shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Thank you very much. First and second reading, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. It's carried unanimously. Can proceed to third reading.
Move myself, second by Councillor Dilba, that a bylaw to adopt policies and procedures governing the closure and sale of municipal highways within the township of Edwardsburg, Cardinal be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2022-32.
Thank you very much. Third reading, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. So now I'm going to item number 11E, which is an extension of the interim control bylaw. Deputy Mayor Deschamps.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that a mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to amend the interim control bylaw 2021-33, and that shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Again, well discussed at the committee level, first and second reading, those in favor?
Aye.
It's carried unanimously. Please proceed to third reading.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that a bylaw to amend the interim control bylaw 2021-33 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2022-33.
Thank you very much. Third reading, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. Thank you. And proceeding now then to item number 11F, the last bylaw is Part 8 Sewage System Management Agreement. Councillor Hunter.
Move myself, second by Councillor Dilba, that the mover be granted leave to introduce a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a sewage system management agreement with the South Nation River Conservation Authority. This shall constitute first and second reading thereof.
Thank you very much. And first and second reading, those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. It's unanimous. Please proceed to third reading.
Move myself, second by Councillor Dilba, that a bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a sewage system management agreement with the South Nation River Conservation Authority be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 2022-34.
Thank you very much. Third reading, and those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And now I'm on item number 12, which is the CAO's administrative update. And I'll have Councillor Cameron put the motion on the floor, then I'll have the CAO speak to his administrative update. Councillor Cameron.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Deputy Mayor Deschamps, that Municipal Council receives the CAO's administration report as presented.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. CAO, and thank you very much for interrupting your short period of time off to come back to tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to update the time on that meeting in North Grenville on May 26th. It is from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. at the Municipal Center. 3 to 4:30 p.m.
Because that sounds more like an open house.
Well,
Thursday.
potentially, yes.
Yes. All right, now your report.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. Just under the administration, economic development, just with respect to the digital Main Street application submitted by the town of Prescott and supported by Augusta and ourselves, that we were successful and we'll be able to retain Elizabeth Wallace as the coordinator for the next 2 years. Earlier on, Councillor Hunter had mentioned about the youth fish camp. So we can confirm that the youth fish camp will be coming to Cardinal on August 17th and 18th. And registration should open shortly, and we will assist with promoting the word. Under page 2, Treasury. Just the financial information return will be finalized after the 2021 statements are reviewed and approved. And our plan as of right now is that we will be submitting prior to the May 31st deadline. Also, MPAC was visited the office to review some of the open building permits and advised that they've assigned an evaluator to review and assess approximately 70 permits to add to the growth assessment in 2022. With respect to facilities and recreation, summer programming, day camp for Johnstown is full with close to 40 kids per session. Will require an extra student to be hired to keep that ratio of 1 counselor per 10 participants. The Cardinal Day camp is filled with 30 kids per session. So extremely well received in the community. The health unit will be completing both pool inspections on June 15th. With respect to operations, public works, just to note that the Recreation and Public Works did the installation of the docks and platforms at the Cardinal Waterfront in Spencerville Mill. Leaf and brush pickup was completed in the township hamlets. And on page 3 of 5, Prescott, I believe, has begun their sweeping in the new Wexford Industrial Park area. And Trillium Tire is scheduled in tomorrow to remove tires from the Scott Road transfer station. Under operations, environmental services, UV annual maintenance was completed for the Cardinal Water Treatment Plant. Dundee Marine was in for their annual inspection and cleaning of the intake. With respect to the Cardinal distribution system, the Honeywell version 4 water meter programming system has been purchased. No new news on scheduled arrival. Under page 4 of 5, operations municipal drain, new culvert was placed on the unopened Crowder Road road allowance, which is actually the start or head of the DeWitt Richter municipal drain. Fire department, under training, firefighters are preparing for the annual Eastern Ontario Firefighters Association event. It will be hosted in Athens on June 11th. The fire officers are conducting final review on the first batch of updated SOPs. And under fire prevention, 3 firefighters attended Kempville Retirement Living on May 4th as part of Firefighter Appreciation Day, along with members from North Grenville and Merrittville Fire Departments. Mr. Mayor, I'll open it up if there's any additional questions from members.
Okay, members of council, questions for the CAO. We'll start with Councillor Hunter.
I don't have any question, but I will state on this report for the fish camp, they take 18 registrations, is what they handle at the camp. They say it fills up very quickly. The rate is $40, and it's a 2-day event. They will be looking for some volunteers. I committed Councillor Dover and myself to be there. And not the deputy mayor. They will be looking for anybody. The extra volunteers are working. Councillor Dover suggested maybe that there might be a way of arranging a breakfast at the Legion or something to take place that weekend, and they said that'd be a great event to start off. A lot of people bring their kids and drop them off. I thought that might be an addition to it if the Legion was interested in doing it. There'd be more information coming out once they get the full booking, but I suggested to them that I did have a business that was willing to subsidize the rates for them registering, the kids registering, and they said they would be more than willing to talk to me later, but they thought that they had no trouble filling up at $40, so I expect a full camp, and I asked if there was an overflow, if there'd be a chance of running the second camp, and they said they'd have to look at the budget and in favor of another path later, so.
Okay, thank you very much. Other questions of the CAO? Deputy Mayor?
I have one, but it's not covered in the report. I just have it for under inquiries after, so I'll leave it until inquiries, I guess.
Okay, Councillor Cameron.
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you. No questions at this time.
And Councillor Dillabaugh.
Yes, I just have one, and that's on the facility of the Bell Internet at the fire station one. Sorry for that.
Your time's
Time's
up,
up.
sorry. Can't answer that question.
You said Bell. Can you give me some insight of how the locates are coming, or what kind of date we're looking at, so they can get online, high speed?
Through
The chair to the CO.
Yeah, through the mayor, I know that we're doing our best to follow up and expedite that locate request so that we can get that issue resolved.
What's the location here?
That is the fire station one in Spencerville.
Oh.
6055 Kerry Road 44.
Okay, any other questions from the CAO? I'm gonna pass the mic to Mr. Brandt, let you out the door. So I have a motion to that municipal council receives the CAO administrative report as presented. About to call a question. If there are nothing further, hearing none, those in favor? Motion is carried. All right, and so that gets me now to the council inquiries or notice of motion. I guess Deputy Mayor, you had one.
I have two. The first one's for the CAO. I've asked this in email. I just want to do it in an open session. I've gotten several complaints and concerns in regard to, which I think is a good project. I'm happy seeing it done, but is the grocery store cleanup in Cardinal. Safety concerns over falling bricks, no fencing around the front or the rear. The use of a excavator inside a building, things like that. Certainly lots of perceived safety concerns. So is there, I guess the question or the inquiry would be, is there a plan to anywhere to require them to have some fencing and some safety set up?
So through the mayor, I had spoken with the chief building official today, and he has had a conversation with the owner, and we anticipate in the next day or two that there will be the proper fencing, at least at the rear and the front of that building.
So good to hear. Second one, Mr. Mayor, is just a question for you actually. In May 11th in the Recorder and Times, there was an article titled "The Three Amigos." In the article, it was discussed that there was going to be a collaboration between Augusta, Prescott, and Edwardsburg Cardinal, and that it would need to come to council. We've all received an email regarding the possibility of a May 30th meeting. You know, as a proponent of collaboration, working together, we've waited 3 years to hear this. I'm surprised to not have seen the discussion item up in the last couple of meetings. I was hopeful that it would be here again tonight, and it's not here again tonight. So my question is, are we planning on attending that collaboration meeting possibility on May 30th? And when do we expect to see it on an agenda for a discussion?
Good question. And I have in my mayor's report just a reminder to council that the meeting will take place on May the 30th. Apparently, this is a meeting that was arranged between Prescott and Augusta prior to the statement of intent that everybody saw. I just want to say that over the past number of months, I've had a number of discussions with Mayor Malanka, on and off again, and the meeting with Mayor Todd was the sort of the culmination of a number of meetings. So at this point, I can't be opposed to any kind of planning or working together, and I'm not opposed to any kind of planning or working together. So, when I was invited to attend that meeting where the statement of intent was sort of put up for discussion and the press was there, and I kind of knew ahead of time that the press would be there. I obviously went along because I think that over the past 3 years, there's been a lot of hurt around the fact that we didn't support the request for an arena in Prescott. I think that hurt is starting to subside. And so the mayor of Prescott and the mayor of Augusta felt that it was time to invite us to join with them in a sort of an intent to work together. And I'm not opposed to that. The only consideration that I wanted to make clear, and I did to both mayors, is that we all have our own interests, and where our interests coincide, we'll work together. But I've made it very clear that we're a very active council. We are very proactive as it comes to industrial and economic development. And, we have to be, that has to be recognized. So other than that, I don't know anything more about the meeting, the agenda for the meeting, or anything else. You know as much as I do. I'm intending to go to that meeting with an open mind and see what develops from it. I don't know how else to answer your question. It's like a train going through a tunnel where you can't see the light. And I don't know what else to say.
Will we be bringing it up at council? Will we be bringing it? Do we need a bylaw to pass that?
Well, it's the point is we have nothing between now and May the 30th. We don't have any meetings between now and May the 30th. Today's the 24th. And May the 30th is the 5th Monday of the month where we would ordinarily have a meeting, but we don't have anything on our agenda. So I think myself, we just go as individuals and see what develops. I don't see how we can do anything else. You can't very well snub the invitation, if I can put it that way.
Oh, I don't want to snub it.
No, and I don't either.
No, I definitely don't want to snub it. Do we need anything through the chair to the clerk? A motion or anything to go to this meeting, or no? Or we're just going as individuals?
Through the chair, I have very limited information on this as well. At this point, it's open-ended from the two other municipalities. I'm sure because they've been together at this joint meeting for a year or two that they have some type of terms of reference. And if our council wishes to go down the path of continuing these discussions, we would have to look at adopting something of that nature, I'm assuming that they have something of that nature, then we would compile it as well into our terms of reference bylaw. But other than that, at this point, it's open to go or not go. It's the council's choosing.
I'm hoping that we'll all go, to tell you the truth. Otherwise it doesn't.
I'm definitely going.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Now this is the.
I plan to go. So
this is the joint meeting, right?
Well, yeah, it's all three the members of all three councils are invited.
Yes, yeah, I understand. Yes. This is the one that
May the 30th.
Mr. CAO just mentioned is from 3 o'clock until 4:30. No.
6 o'clock.
No.
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Monday the 30th.
And a different date.
Well, then what
In
is
Prescott.
So, yeah, so if I may, Mr. Mayor, so the meeting that I was talking about that was from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. is Thursday, May 26th at North Grenville with respect to the no truck bylaw.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Councilor.
I intend to go to the meeting too. I just have one little bit of an inquiry. We're being invited as a council there, and I'm not too sure how this works in under the council regulations. All 5 council members of council are going to be there, and I think it would be considered promoting township business with all 5 of us there at a joint meeting. So I think it's not just an invitation; it's a council meeting.
To the mayor, yes, I would say that if 3 or more of you are present, it would be a council meeting.
And I agree with that. And, you know, I must admit that I hadn't spoken to the clerk about that. And I think probably the reason that I didn't was because I had the impression that we regard these things quite seriously. When 3 or more of us are together, the clerk should be present. We regard that quite seriously. Do you have a comment to make?
Yeah, through the chair, it is common practice that with the Augusta and Prescott meetings that have taken place, most of them are held in Prescott. The clerk is there attending, as well as usually the CAO or any other senior management, etc., as well as any participating council members and their respective CAOs and clerks. So whoever is attending, we all have the correct representatives there to make sure that you're not in breach of the municipal act.
So are either you or the deputy clerk available to be present?
Through the chair, yes, I am.
Okay. And now Mr. Grant will be still on the holidays.
I will be back to work on the 30th.
Well,
He doesn't want to miss anything.
The invitation is extended as a council, though, am I not correct? It's not to me individually, it's to Edwardsburg Cardinal, CAO and council, correct?
Through the mayor, yes, I would interpret that as a council invitation. When I had originally sent out the email with respect to availability for May 30th, it wasn't really a formal invitation at that time, but knowing that the 5th Monday is open with respect to this council, if council was available and interested, then that made the most sense to align with their previously scheduled meeting for May 30th.
so don't know whether that helps you or not, but one thing I want to make very clear is that when the meeting took place with the 3 of us and the press present, I insisted that that statement of intent be forwarded to our CAO immediately that same evening, and that he distributed to my council immediately. And so Mr. McDonald, the CAO from Augusta, was present at that meeting, and he did that. But I wanted it done right away because that had not crossed anybody's minds at that point in time. And I didn't want my council members knowing about this statement of intent and reading it in the paper someplace. So I wanted you to be the first to know. So that's how it got distributed that same evening. And then it was subsequent to that that Mr. Grant put out the notice about who's available for the 30th. So I think we will, I'm hoping that we'll all be there. I'm hoping that, and again, I need direction from the clerk. Are the 3 clerks just quote present, or is a meeting called to order and handled as a joint meeting of 3 councils? I mean, I don't know the mechanism that you use to bring 3 councils together like that.
So through the chair, I'm still working on those details myself with the other 2 municipalities. To my knowledge, because it's usually hosted in Prescott, whoever the hosting municipality is, that's the clerk that takes the minutes, writes everything up, organizes the agenda. The other 2 clerks are there to make sure their own councils stay in line.
Good luck. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
All right.
Looking forward to it. It's been 3 long years of trying to get to that table, and I'm glad to see that we're finally there.
Thank you.
Well done, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Yeah, well done.
Okay, are there any other notices of motion or inquiries?
Oh, I do, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple. First, I just wondering if we could do the chair to the CEO and operation manager. Could look at something on North Channel Road, a yield sign or a stop sign at the end of the road going into Tuttle Point. That is a death trap. I almost got clipped twice going in, going out yesterday and Monday. Just wonder if we could look at some kind of report or if we could do something there, a yield sign. Maybe not a stop sign, but a yield sign.
Before you make that right-hand turn.
Before you make that right-hand turn. Because you're gonna go in the river. I almost went in the river.
Well, I think one thing that we should all be aware of is that when you make that right-hand turn, you're on private property.
Right. It's coming out when I make my left-hand turn where it's going in on North Channel Road where I got clipped. Well, I didn't get clipped, but pretty close. So when I was going out, if we just could look at something, come up with some kind of thing. I see your hand was up, Mr. Operation.
Through the chair, Councillor Dillabaugh, we actually installed one of the radar signs there today.
Pardon me?
We actually installed one of the radar signs there today at the end of the
Good.
town, just to help out. We had some concerns expressed from people on Tuttle Point. It's understood that it is private property and that we cannot go on their property, but they're worried about some collisions or something on that corner. So we put that in just to get some data and try and help.
Information, great, thank you, appreciate that. And second of all, Johnstown had a cleanup day on Saturday, May 21st. There was 9 of us, including the mayor, Mr. Mayor in his work clothes and work gloves, and myself. And out of the 9 of us, we collected, I took 9 large bags, that's the sad part of it, 9 large bags to the Cardinal dump on Saturday. And that was just from the number 2 highway in 416 to
Cruise
Rail.
Yeah.
So
basically, no
pretty sad. 9 bags. But anyways, it was well done, and I thank everyone who's showing up. That's my inquiries. Thank you.
Any other notice of inquiries? Okay, I'll just be quick. There's just one item on the mayor's report. And then I know that this gentleman is waiting for the question period, which will be next. So just a quick notice to council. I did receive an email from John Edwards at Prismian telling me that the official opening of the distribution center would be on June the 14th, and inviting me to put that date in my book, which I responded to him, and he asked me if I'd be bringing any guests. I think I may have already reported this to council, but there's a snag. So he asked me if I'd be bringing any guests, and I told him that all of my council would definitely be interested in attending. And also I said, you know, I'm sure that the mayor of Prescott and the mayor of Augusta would appreciate an invitation, because this is a good news story for all of South Grenville. A lot of jobs coming into this new distribution center. And reminder that they closed the distribution center in Brampton to bring this one here. So I got an email from Mr. Edwards late today saying that the date had been changed to June the 14th. And I just want to make it very clear that I think that this whole thing is going to be orchestrated by Tennessee, the head office in Tennessee. And the board of directors from Italy will be here. And I think they're going to make it into a rather big splash for their board of directors. And so I'm just indicating to council that in anticipation, I know that I will get an invitation. I don't know how many others will go out, but in his email today, he said to give him the contact numbers for all the members of council, plus the mayor of Augusta and the mayor of Prescott, which I'll do that tomorrow. But I have to be ready to make a sort of a presentation. So I just want to indicate to council that this is about the only thing that I can think about. These are the kind of things that we distributed at the Giant Tiger official sod turning. And I had a number of them purchased so that we could give them out to the Giant Tiger officials, plus a sort of a souvenir for all members of council as well. Now, I don't know what else to do. If any councillors have a suggestion, please let me know. Because I am looking for ideas. This is all I could think of at the present time, and I have no idea what I'm going to put on it, but has to be something that's fairly suitable for the shops from Milan, Italy that are going to be here. So that's my presentation, and I think Deputy Mayor Deschamps, you have a motion to approve the mayor's report.
I do, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor John Hunter, that municipal council receives the mayor's report as presented.
Thank you very much. Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion is carried. And now to the gentleman with all the patience, sir.
Sorry, my apologies for not knowing the protocol.
Well, you've got the floor now. Any questions related to anything that went on at the meeting tonight?
No, I was here for Corey's presentation earlier. I called today asking about the potential closure of Smith Road. So I'm a resident on Jokum Road, and I will have had some concerns about the number of traffic that's increased recently. So my research with the locals highlighted that they've been traveling Jokum quite a bit more to keep people quiet on Smith Road. So I just want to make sure, the meeting time was more than 3 o'clock. So that's all I had. Right?
Okay, so now you've heard from the CAO that the meeting is 3 to 4:30, but you've heard also from Mr. Lockwood that he thinks the meeting is at 6.
Online is posted at 3.
Chair, I just confirmed with Mr. Lockwood, and we're both of the same opinion. It starts at 3 now.
Oh, okay, all right. So 3 to 4:30 now.
I just wanted to know if there would be representative from here. I don't know if that's something that we can know, or if I'm going alone on there.
Okay, so that's an interesting point. I'm glad you asked the question because, as I explained when Mr. Lockwood was here, we don't have a council position on this matter yet. And there's no point in our agenda to discuss that. And I'm looking for direction. The chair is really looking for direction because this is a timely issue. And if we're going to make any kind of a position, obviously we've only got this next few minutes to make that decision. So the chair's looking for direction to at least extend the meeting long enough to have a discussion on that topic.
Well, I'll certainly move that motion.
I would second that.
Okay, so I have Deputy Mayor Deschamps moving and Councillor Cameron seconding that the meeting be extended to provide an opportunity for discussion on the proposed North Grenville truck bylaw. So that's the essence of the motion. Those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
All right, so the meeting is extended for that discussion. And so now I'd like to hear from members of council as to how involved we should get here. Now, before we go on, I should give you an opportunity. You're a resident of Jokum Road?
Yes.
In our township?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And Jokum Road is an east-west road, right?
It is.
It goes over the 401.
416.
Or over the 416, right? And how many residents are there on that road?
Oh, I don't know the number of houses.
22.
22.
I was there Sunday.
Okay. 22 homes, so I'm not
From Yoakum, from 44 to Smith Road.
Okay. And you say the traffic has been getting heavier?
It's significantly increased. I know that there's a set of radar signs, one reads going east and one reads going west, but I'm not sure who's posted or how they got posted.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you right there, and through the CAO to the Director of Operations, did we post that radar?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we posted radar. It's been up for a couple of weeks now, so we're getting some data on this.
But were you aware that this was happening?
No, it was actually on a different concern, speeds on the road.
Oh, it was? Oh, I see. And so they're just coincident that the two things are coinciding.
That's good though.
I will raise the one going westbound. It's speedometer friendly. It's a little low. So
Could be the charge.
it's just angled. I can go by the 80 that reads 40, so I'm not sure if the data will be valid going westbound, but eastbound we should get.
Okay, so.
Through the chair, maybe the battery.
Oh, I see.
Could be because they're solar charged.
I don't even-
Okay, so now I'm getting back to a discussion of the issue and whether or not council takes a position. Councillor, I'm going to go around the table this way, starting with Councillor Hunter.
Well, I think we need to get all the information. Once I found out about this, I fully intend to attend the meeting to sit and listen to what all the residents have to say, because I guess it's a bit of a conflict that does impact business I'm involved in too, so our trucks go that way too, so.
So you were going to attend as a private individual?
I intended to attend to see what information was being fed. We're here in this site. I'd like to hear both sides of the story, hear what their council and their representatives have to say. I'm stated before, I'm not very happy with it. I can't see how the North Grenville residents would be happy with it. I know there's a few that are going to complain. We get them too. Certain roads, you want speed limit dropped and one thing and another, because 2 or 3 people make fools of themselves on it. But I can't see that the rest of North Grenville would be really happy that all of a sudden all the municipal roads, you're just going to have certain truck roads that you can. It's going to cost people a lot of money for everything. Like if they made some different exemptions here for development or something, that gravel trucks can go down. If you need sewer replaced or something, a gravel truck can drive there. If your subdivision being built, trucks and stuff can travel whatever the shortest road is to get there, but they don't have to drag it around. As Corey said, you're adding anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 per house to get it built. We're trying to cut out roadblocks for building houses, not add more to them. I think this is a waterfall thing. Like if one township passes, then I can see residents in our township, they're going to be coming forward because trucks travel off the different quarries and sand pits in this township. We've got one sand pit that is all on the township road. That's the only way they have out is on the township road. So PERS, like the only way they have out if they're coming south is on our township road. So
okay,
we do have options. We got come out on the county road, but we still have to travel municipal roads too. So
yeah. Okay. All right, definitely.
I think for me, the biggest impact is that the decision that they would make would redirect traffic into our township. Not taking into the consideration the concerns or the safety, for that matter, of the folks on Yocum Road. Basically saying that the folks on Smith Road are somehow more important than where they're redirecting the traffic to, and I think that it's not really all that neighborly. So I would struggle with that. I mean, their decision to do what they want with the roads within their township is theirs, but this one that portion directly impacts the traffic in our township roads and our residents. So we certainly should have someone there.
Will you be able to attend?
I could probably make it by Zoom, but I honestly think that I'm still at work Thursday at 4:30. So there's a possibility, but I don't think I would be able to.
Okay, Councillor Cameron.
I could certainly be there. As a matter of fact, I have an appointment in Kemptville for around 1 o'clock, finishing around 2 or 2:30. So I'm certainly going to be there in Kemptville, so I can certainly attend. Absolutely.
And Councillor Dilba.
Yeah, I just want to bring one thing up though, Mr. Mayor, before we go. I mean, it's okay. I think the more we get from our council, but we got to be careful again, don't we? If we have more than 3, hello, we're going to be not, because it's only a public meeting.
Yeah.
That's all it is. There's not going to be any decisions made for sure. So we got to be careful of having more than 3 of our council members there.
Well, I don't know that this would be that much different than going to a play at Upper Canada Playhouse.
So through the chair, we walked that very fine line as to whether or not this is a meeting constituting a business black for all of council members, because it is a political / administrative duty that you'll be attending, representing technically the township and residents. However, we do provide on occasion where if you're at a conference or at a webinar or at a meeting, we kind of avoid that issue. So we don't have a clear-cut yes or no answer to that, but it would be under the guidance of the Ms. Black that you only discuss matters that are pertaining to this at the public meeting, not further.
Or maybe not sit
council.
together.
Okay, so the next question is, I mean, I sense a fair amount of concern around the table. And the next question is, do we make a presentation? Would the council authorize the mayor to at least speak to the fact that this is not very neighborly?
No.
Okay.
Public meeting.
Not at this meeting. Mr. Mayor.
I think this is a information gathering meeting for us to hear what they have to say, and if we don't like what we hear to have to say, maybe we request a council meeting.
Okay, so we regard it as an information gathering session. We'll each bring back our own impressions. And can we get this, well, Mr. Chair, can we get it on your agenda?
Do we, yeah, we can put anything you want on my agenda, that's fine, yeah. 100%.
Well, you're the first meeting after this.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we have zoning bylaw review, but.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we have the zoning bylaw up, and I anticipate that will be a lengthy discussion
We'll just put this
on the 6th.
So that moves it to admin finance then, the next week, the 13th.
We can do it.
Special meeting ahead of it. Earlier.
We can.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think
How long can we take to discuss it?
well, that's a good point.
Right?
That's a good
I mean,
point.
we've already had the discussion tonight.
Yeah, basically. We don't know what the end result. Well, let's put it on and put a time lane to it.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor, I
I'll start the timer.
I just would like to comment, in speaking to that, we certainly rehashed the zoning bylaw a substantial amount of times. So,
Okay, so to wind this up, and I want to thank the speaker for his patience coming here tonight and bringing this up. And you see the awkward spot that we were in, but you've sort of precipitated this discussion. Want to thank you for that. And before you go, I'm hoping that you'll give your name to the clerk, so we have it. And then I think what you've heard is that we will go. Most of us will be there. We'll regard it as an information gathering session. I'm certainly going to have a chat with the mayor about it, and indicate that, you know, as a mayor, I'm not very happy because you're doing something to our township that we wouldn't do to you. So I'll make that point just privately with her. And then we will have a further discussion on the issue at the CDC meeting on June the 6th. So thanks again for coming. So that sort of curtails or ends that little discussion that was granted by means of a special motion that came forward after the question period. So thank you very much. Now I'm going to item number 16. We don't have a closed session. So item number 17, I'm calling for the confirmatory bylaw, Councillor Dillabaugh.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself and second by Councilor Cameron that the bylaws be adopted, confirm, ratified matters dealt with by the resolution we now pass signed sealed number 2022-35.
Welcome back. Those in favor? Motion is carried, and now I'm looking for the motion to adjourn, and I see that Councillor Hunter has the motion to adjourn.
Councillor Dillabaugh, council now adjourn at 8:29 p.m.
Thank you very much. Those in favor? Yes, it's carried. Thank you.
Well done, good news.
I'll see.